Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt like something or someone was watching back? Throughout history, people from all over the world have reported strange lights, massive crafts, and eerie encounters that defy explanation. Some say it's military technology, others believe it's something far more mysterious. But what if the truth is even stranger? Today, we're diving into 7 chilling UFO sightings that remain completely unexplained. And trust me, you won't look at the sky the same way again. The Hudson Valley Wave. Picture this. It's a quiet evening in the Hudson Valley, New York. You're relaxing on your porch, gazing up at the night sky, when suddenly, a massive V-shaped formation of glowing lights glides silently overhead. No engine noise, no rush of wind, just an eerie silence as the lights hover, shift, and then vanish into the darkness. Now imagine this happening thousands of times over the course of 4 years. Between 1982 and 1986, more than 5,000 people across New York's Hudson Valley reported witnessing enormous, structured craft flying low and slow over homes, highways, and fields. Some described it as a floating city of lights, others as a boomerang-shaped craft pulsating in eerie reds, blues, and whites. On March 24, 1983, one of the most famous mass sightings occurred when hundreds of people spotted a UFO so large, it covered the entire sky. Authorities scrambled for explanations, suggesting it could be a squadron of small planes flying in formation. But those who saw it up close weren't buying it. Witnesses described a solid object, not individual aircraft. And how do you explain the way it hovered motionless for minutes before suddenly accelerating out of sight at impossible speeds? To this day, the Hudson Valley Wave remains one of the most well-documented and chilling UFO flaps in history. Was it secret military technology? A well-orchestrated hoax, or something not of this world? No one knows. And that's the scariest part. The Shag Harbor Incident. Imagine a quiet fishing village in Nova Scotia, where the biggest concerns are the tides and the daily catch. Now, imagine that peace being shattered when a glowing object streaks across the night sky and crashes into the icy Atlantic waters. That's exactly what happened on October 4, 1967, in the town of Shag Harbor, a night that would go down in history as Canada's most baffling UFO mystery. It all began just after 11 p.m., when multiple eyewitnesses, including fishermen, airline pilots, and even the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, reported a large, illuminated object plunging into the water. A loud whistling sound was followed by a thunderous boom, and then, silence. What was left was a glowing yellow foam floating on the water's surface. Authorities acted fast, launching a full-scale rescue operation assuming a plane had crashed, but after days of searching, no wreckage, no bodies, nothing was ever found. Sonar scans revealed an unidentified object sitting on the ocean floor, but before it could be properly investigated, it vanished without a trace. The Canadian government officially classified the event as a UFO crash, making it one of the only documented cases where authorities acknowledged an unidentified flying object went down. No logical explanation was ever given. No missing planes, no military operations, nothing. So what really crashed into Shag Harbor that night? A secret experiment, an alien craft, or something far stranger lurking beneath the waves? To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. The Westall Encounter, 1966. Imagine you're in school, sitting through another dull lesson, when suddenly, a shadow passes over the classroom window. Students and teachers rush outside, shielding their eyes from the midday sun, and then they see it. A silvery, disc-shaped object hovering just beyond the schoolyard, gliding silently above the open fields. Then, without warning, it dips, lands, and sits motionless. This isn't a scene from a sci-fi movie. This actually happened on April 6, 1966, at Westall High School in Melbourne, Australia. More than 200 students and faculty stood frozen in shock as a metallic craft, roughly the size of 2 cars, descended into a nearby paddock. A few brave students sprinted toward it, but before they could get close, it suddenly shot back into the sky at an impossible speed, disappearing into the distance. As if that wasn't strange enough, military personnel and government officials arrived within hours, quickly cordoning off the area. Students were interrogated, teachers were silenced, and the entire event was swiftly buried. Witnesses were warned never to speak of what they saw, with some even claiming that their statements were forcibly changed. No official explanation has ever been given. No weather balloons, no experimental aircraft, nothing. Yet those who were there never forgot what they saw. Over 5 decades later, former students and teachers still recall the unearthly craft with absolute certainty. What landed near Westall High School that day? A military test? A case of mass hysteria? Or did hundreds of school children witness something truly out of this world? Whatever the truth is, someone doesn't want us to know. The Rendlesham Forest Incident. It was Christmas night 1980, at a US military base in England when something unimaginable happened. The air was still, the forest was silent, and then, strange lights began flickering between the trees. What followed remains one of the most bizarre and chilling UFO encounters in military history. Just after midnight on December 26, U.S. Air Force personnel stationed at RAF Woodbridge spotted a glowing object descending into the dense trees of Rendlesham Forest. Thinking it might be a downed aircraft, a security team was sent to investigate, but what they found was nothing human-made. As they approached, they saw a metallic triangular craft hovering above the ground, its surface covered in strange hieroglyph-like symbols. It emitted a pulsing light, casting eerie shadows through the trees. One officer, Sergeant Jim Peniston, claimed he touched the craft, feeling a charged energy vibrating through it. And then, it was gone, vanishing into the night sky at an impossible speed. But the nightmare wasn't over. The following night, the lights returned. This time, multiple high-ranking officers, including Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, witnessed red orbs darting through the sky and a beam of light being directed down to the base. Even their radio communications mysteriously cut out. The British Ministry of Defense dismissed the event as misidentified lights or a meteor, but the witness reports, audio recordings, and physical evidence tell a different story. Why was the military so quick to cover it up? And what was that craft doing in Rendlesham Forest that night? Over 40 years later, the Rendlesham Forest incident remains one of the most chilling and well-documented UFO encounters ever recorded. The Phoenix Lights. Imagine stepping outside on a warm Arizona night, expecting to see the usual twinkling stars. But instead you see a massive, silent formation of lights slowly gliding across the sky. No sound, no explanation, just an enormous V-shaped craft, blocking out the stars as it moves over the city. This wasn't the imagination of one or two people. This was witnessed by thousands across Arizona, Nevada, and even parts of Mexico on March 13, 1997. People described the object as a mile wide, moving in perfect formation, defying everything we know about aviation. Some said it was so low they could see the structure between the lights, confirming it wasn't just a formation of separate aircraft. For 3 full hours, the mysterious lights hovered, drifted, and then vanished. Calls flooded police stations, news outlets, and even military bases, but no one had an answer. The U.S. Air Force later claimed the lights were just military flares dropped during a training exercise, but that explanation didn't sit well with eyewitnesses, including pilots, police officers, and even the governor of Arizona himself. In a bizarre twist, then Governor Fife Symington initially mocked the sightings, but years later he admitted that he too had seen the craft and believed it was otherworldly. To this day, the Phoenix Lights remain one of the most massive and compelling UFO sightings ever recorded. Were they a secret military experiment, an extraterrestrial flyover, or something far more mysterious? Whatever the truth is, it's been kept in the dark, just like the sky that night. The O'Hare Airport sighting. It was just another busy afternoon at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, until air traffic controllers, pilots, and ground crew all witnessed something that defied logic. Hovering just above Gate C-17 in broad daylight was a perfectly round metallic disc silently spinning in place. No wings, no visible propulsion, just an eerie, hovering craft that shouldn't have been there. For nearly 5 minutes, stunned airport employees and passengers watched in disbelief as the object remained motionless, defying the strong winds that should have sent it tumbling. Then, in an instant, it shot straight up through the clouds, so fast it punched a hole through them, leaving a gaping circular gap. United Airlines employees frantically reported the sighting to the FAA, but strangely, no radar data could confirm the object's presence. The FAA dismissed the event, claiming it was simply a weather phenomenon, but the witnesses weren't buying it. Experienced pilots and aviation staff, people who knew the skies better than anyone, were adamant this was not a reflection, a plane, or anything they had ever seen before. Even more suspicious, United Airlines ordered its employees to keep quiet and no official investigation was ever launched. But leaked reports made their way to the public, turning the O'Hare Airport sighting into one of the most credible UFO encounters in modern history. So what really hovered over one of the world's busiest airports that day? A top-secret craft? An extraterrestrial visitor? Or something else entirely? Whatever it was, it left in a way no human-made machine ever could. The Stephenville sightings. Picture a quiet evening in Stephenville, Texas, a small town where the biggest excitement usually comes from Friday night football. But on January 8, 2008, the town became the center of one of the most baffling UFO sightings in modern history. It started as a series of bright, white lights stretching across the sky, moving in absolute silence. But what happened next sent chills down the spines of hundreds of witnesses, including experienced pilots, local law enforcement, and even a county constable. The lights reconfigured into a massive, mile-wide craft, moving at impossible speeds, zigzagging through the air before vanishing without a sound. Some described it as larger than a football field, flying low enough to see its structure. Others saw it outrun fighter jets that appeared to be in pursuit. The U.S. Air Force initially denied having any planes in the area, but just days later they changed their story, claiming that 10 fighter jets were conducting a training exercise. But that explanation didn't match what the witnesses saw. A craft so enormous, so fast, and so utterly unlike anything known to mankind. Radar data later confirmed that an unidentified object had indeed been in the area, traveling at speeds no known aircraft could achieve. The government, as expected, brushed it off. But the people of Stephenville knew what they saw, and it wasn't just military jets. To this day, the Stephenville sightings remain one of the most well-documented and chilling UFO encounters in history. A secret experiment, an alien craft, or something even stranger. Whatever flew over Texas that night, it was beyond anything we've ever seen before. So what do you think? Are these just misidentified objects, secret military experiments, or actual proof that we're not alone? The truth is still out there waiting to be uncovered. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the unexplained, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to InnoVision Tech for more mind-blowing mysteries and futuristic discoveries. And let us know in the comments, which of these UFO sightings do you think is the most convincing? What if the universe ends tomorrow? No warning, no time to prepare, just gone. Sounds like a sci-fi movie, right? But here's the crazy part. Scientists actually have theories about how the universe could meet its ultimate fate, from a slow, icy death to a sudden cosmic collapse or even a reality-shattering event that happens instantly. These aren't just wild guesses, they're backed by physics. And the scariest part? Some of them could happen without us ever seeing it coming. So what's the truth? Let's dive into the ultimate doomsday theories and find out how everything we know could end. The Big Freeze. Alright, picture this. You're walking outside one night and for some reason the stars look dimmer. Not just one or two, all of them. The sky feels colder, emptier. Now what if I told you that this is exactly how the universe might end? Not with a bang, not with destruction, but with a slow, agonizing freeze. Scientists call it the Big Freeze or heat death, and honestly it's one of the scariest ways for the universe to go. Right now, our universe is expanding. Galaxies are moving away from each other like people trying to avoid an awkward conversation. But the problem? They never stop moving. Ever. The farther they go, the colder everything becomes. Stars will die, galaxies will vanish, and black holes will eventually evaporate, leaving behind a vast, empty, frozen void. Imagine the last star in the universe, flickering like a dying candle. No more warmth, no more light. Just eternal, infinite darkness. Even atoms might stop vibrating, meaning time itself could just stop. Forever. But here's the real kicker. This isn't something that happens in an instant. It's a slow, inevitable process that would take trillions upon trillions of years. So, if you're worried about waking up tomorrow to an ice-cold void of nothingness, don't be. We still have time, for now. The Big Rip. Okay, imagine you're holding a piece of paper. Now, slowly, tear it in half. Now again, and again, until there's nothing left. Now, apply that same concept to the entire universe, except instead of paper, it's planets, stars, galaxies, even atoms. Welcome to the Big Rip, a theory that suggests one terrifying possibility. Dark energy could one day become so powerful that it overcomes everything. Gravity, nuclear forces, even the very fabric of space itself. Right now, dark energy is this mysterious force making the universe expand faster and faster. But what if that acceleration keeps increasing? What if, in a distant future, galaxies are torn from each other, then solar systems, then planets? Eventually, even your body would be stretched and ripped apart, atom by atom. And the worst part, scientists estimate that if the Big Rip is real, it would happen in a sudden, unstoppable chain reaction. First, galaxies separate. Then, black holes dissolve. Then, planets and moons start drifting away, until in the final moments, boom! Space-time itself is shredded, and the universe as we know it ceases to exist. So, while we might be safe for billions of years, if this theory turns out to be true, well, let's just say we won't see it coming. The Big Crunch. Alright, let's flip the script. What if, instead of expanding forever, the universe suddenly decided to reverse? Imagine watching a movie of the Big Bang, but in reverse. Galaxies stop moving outward and start falling back toward each other. Space itself shrinks. Stars collide. The entire universe begins to implode under its own gravity. This is the terrifying possibility of the Big Crunch. At first, it wouldn't be noticeable. The cosmos is vast, and these changes would happen over billions of years. But eventually things would get weird. Galaxies would merge in violent collisions, black holes would devour everything in sight, and temperatures would skyrocket as matter condensed. Now, picture the very last moments. Everything, stars, planets, dust, even light itself, squeezed into an unimaginable singularity. A point so dense, so hot that the laws of physics completely break down. Sound familiar? Yep. This singularity would look exactly like the one that started the Big Bang. Which raises the question, what if this isn't the first time it's happened? What if the universe doesn't just end, but resets? The Big Bounce theory suggests that once the universe collapses, another Big Bang could ignite a new beginning. A fresh universe with new galaxies, new planets, maybe even new versions of us. So is the Big Crunch the end of everything, or just a cosmic reboot? We don't know. But if history really does repeat itself, the universe may be stuck in an endless loop of birth, death, and rebirth. Kind of poetic, isn't it? Vacuum decay. Alright, this one is pure nightmare fuel. Unlike the Big Freeze or the Big Crunch where the universe takes billions of years to die, this could happen at any moment, without warning. Let me introduce you to vacuum decay, or as some physicists like to call it, the Big Slurp. Sounds funny, right? Yeah, not when you realize what it means. Right now our universe exists in what's called a false vacuum, kind of like standing on thin ice. It feels stable, but beneath us, there might be something more fundamental, something more real. If a quantum fluctuation or some bizarre high-energy event were to trigger a shift, a tiny bubble of true vacuum could form. And guess what? That bubble would expand at the speed of light. You wouldn't see it coming, you wouldn't feel it, it would just happen. 1 second the universe is here. The next, gone. The laws of physics would change instantly. Atoms would stop being atoms. Time and space would cease to exist as we know them. It sounds like sci-fi, but this isn't some horror movie plot, it's actual science. Some physicists believe that if the universe is truly in a false vacuum state, then vacuum decay is inevitable. The only good news? If it happens, we wouldn't have time to process it. No suffering, no pain, just poof. So, will we wake up tomorrow and find out the universe has been rewritten? Probably not, but the possibility alone is enough to keep some scientists awake at night. Sleep well. The Big Bounce. Alright, let's think outside the box for a second. What if the universe never really ends? What if, instead of collapsing into nothingness or freezing over, it just bounces back? Imagine a giant cosmic heartbeat, expanding, collapsing, expanding again. This is what scientists call the Big Bounce. It all starts with a big crunch, where everything gets pulled back together, condensed into a singularity. But instead of staying trapped, something triggers another Big Bang, a new universe bursting into existence, repeating the cycle all over again. And here's where things get really crazy. What if every new universe is just slightly different? Maybe in one version the laws of physics are the same, but galaxies form in completely different places. Maybe in another, the speed of light is different or gravity is stronger. And maybe, just maybe, there's another version of you out there living a completely different life. This theory makes the universe feel less like a one-time event and more like an eternal process. The end? It's just the start of something new, over and over again. And if that's true, then maybe this isn't the first time we've had this conversation. Maybe in some past version of the universe you've already heard this before. And maybe, just maybe, you'll hear it again. The role of dark energy. Okay, now let's talk about the real mystery here, dark energy. If the universe's fate is a movie, dark energy is the director. We can't see it, we don't fully understand it, but it's shaping everything. And depending on what dark energy really is, it could decide which of these doomsday endings actually happens. Right now, dark energy makes up about 68% of the entire universe. It's like a force that's pushing everything apart, making space expand faster and faster. But here's the scary part. We have no idea what it is. Is it a constant force? Will it get stronger? Or could it suddenly change? If dark energy stays constant, the universe might just expand forever, leading us straight into the big freeze. And if it gets stronger, we might be headed for the big rip, where space itself is torn apart. But if it weakens, gravity could take over again, pulling everything back for a big crunch. And here's something even crazier. What if dark energy isn't just controlling this universe, but all universes? Some scientists think that dark energy could be linked to the multiverse, meaning that whatever happens to our universe is just a tiny piece of something much, much bigger. So, will dark energy let the universe drift into an icy grave, rip it apart, or start the cycle all over again? The truth is, we don't know. But one thing's for sure, dark energy is the key to everything. So, is the universe destined for a slow freeze, a violent collapse, or something even stranger? The truth is, we may never know until it happens. But one thing's for sure, the cosmos is full of mysteries waiting to be unraveled. If you love exploring the mind-blowing possibilities of science in the future, make sure to subscribe to InnoVision Tech for more deep dives into the unknown. What do you think will be the universe's ultimate fate? Let's discuss in the comments. Imagine a planet so close to its star that its surface is a never-ending ocean of molten lava, constantly reshaped by volcanic eruptions. Now, what if I told you this planet is still growing, adding new layers of lava and rock every day? Crazy, right? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to stand on such a world where the ground beneath you is hotter than any volcano on Earth? What would it take for a planet like this to exist? Let's dive into the mysterious and fiery world of lava planets, planets that are constantly evolving under the most extreme conditions. Lava planets. Picture this, a world where the ground beneath your feet is a swirling, ever-moving sea of molten rock, where rivers of lava constantly erupt from the depths, and the air itself is thick with heat and toxic gases. Welcome to the realm of lava planets, a phenomenon that seems almost too extreme to imagine, but they're very real. These planets exist in the far reaches of space, orbiting stars so close that their surfaces have become scorched wastelands, boiling with molten rock. They are planets caught in an eternal dance with their suns, forever locked in a state of fiery chaos. A lava planet is not your typical Earth-like world. Instead of lush forests and oceans, these planets feature scorching temperatures that can melt metal, turning their surfaces into vast, hellish landscapes of lava oceans, jagged volcanic peaks, and endless ash storms. If Earth's surface were heated to temperatures beyond 1000 degrees Celsius, the result would look eerily similar to a lava planet, and that's exactly what scientists are discovering. Planets that are constantly on fire, unable to cool down because they're simply too close to their stars. The true beauty of lava planets lies in how extreme they are, pushing the limits of what we thought was possible for a planet. This fiery and constantly evolving nature makes them one of the most fascinating kinds of worlds we've found beyond our solar system. So what makes them so special, and how do they keep growing despite being covered in molten rock? Let's dive into one of the most exciting discoveries in exoplanet research, the lava planet. The formation and growth of lava planets. Lava planets don't just happen by accident. They're formed under intense conditions, often because of a combination of stellar proximity and tidal forces. These planets typically form when rocky worlds are placed in orbit so close to their stars that they're constantly bombarded by radiation and heat. The result? Their surfaces can't cool down, they remain molten, covered in vast oceans of lava. The heat from the star keeps the planet's surface in a state of constant volcanic activity, adding new material to the surface and reshaping it in real time. Over millions or even billions of years, this process causes lava planets to grow and evolve. Volcanic eruptions constantly push new layers of rock and lava to the surface, gradually expanding the planet. This constant reshaping means that lava planets are some of the most dynamic worlds in existence, constantly in flux and never quite the same from one moment to the next. The formation of lava planets is a result of their intense gravitational interaction with their stars. As these planets orbit close to their suns, they experience tidal locking, where one side is always facing the star while the other side remains in darkness. The star-facing side becomes unbearably hot, with temperatures soaring to thousands of degrees, while the dark side remains cooler but still inhospitable. These extreme conditions cause the planet's interior to become extremely volatile, leading to continuous volcanic eruptions. The molten rock created during these eruptions adds material to the planet's surface, allowing it to grow over time. Lava planets challenge our understanding of what makes a planet habitable or stable. Their extreme nature forces scientists to rethink the possibilities of life in other parts of the universe. These planets are not just fiery hellscapes. They are dynamic, growing worlds, evolving in real time under the forces of nature. As we continue to discover more lava planets, we learn not only about their incredible growth, but also about the diverse conditions that can exist in the universe. Koro T7b. Meet Koro 7b, one of the most remarkable lava planets discovered to date. Imagine a planet where the temperature is so intense that rock itself is in liquid form, flowing across the surface like molten rivers. This is the reality of Koro 7b, a distant exoplanet located about 490 light-years away in the constellation Monoceros. Discovered in 2009, Koro 7b is a true anomaly in the universe. Orbiting its star in just 20 hours, this planet is incredibly close to its sun, and its surface is a constant inferno, exposed to temperatures reaching up to 2,000 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt solid rock, and scientists believe that this planet is covered in oceans of lava, where volcanic eruptions happen continuously, creating a dynamic and ever-changing landscape. But here's the real kicker: Koro 7b is so close to its star that one side of the planet is always facing the sun, while the other side remains in perpetual darkness. This creates an extreme contrast between the two hemispheres. On the star-facing side, the heat is so intense that molten rock constantly churns on the surface, while the dark side remains cooler but still incredibly hot. The planet's extreme conditions make it a valuable subject for research into how planets form and how they interact with their stars. Koro 7b challenges our understanding of what a planet can be, giving us a glimpse into the more exotic worlds that exist out there in the universe. Its molten, constantly changing surface is a reminder that not all planets are as hospitable as Earth, and some worlds are truly wild. Kepler-10b. Now, let's talk about Kepler-10b, a rocky planet that's about 1.4 times the size of Earth. Imagine a world where you can't even step outside without being scorched by extreme heat. Located roughly 560 light-years away from Earth, Kepler-10b is one of the most intriguing exoplanets discovered by NASA's Kepler mission. This super-Earth orbits its star in just 0.84 days, which means a full year on Kepler-10b is less than a day on our planet. But here's the real mind-blowing part. Kepler-10b's proximity to its star means it's constantly bombarded by intense radiation, pushing its surface temperatures to a blistering 1,000 degrees Celsius to 1,500 degrees Celsius. That's more than enough to melt rock and keep the planet's surface covered in oceans of lava. You might be thinking, isn't this just a crazy, fiery ball of destruction? Well, yes, but that's exactly what makes it so fascinating to scientists. Kepler-10b's molten surface is believed to be the result of volcanic activity that keeps the lava constantly flowing, reshaping the planet in real time. In fact, it's likely that volcanic eruptions are happening continuously, adding new layers to the planet's surface and creating a volatile, dynamic environment. But it doesn't stop there. Researchers also believe that Kepler-10b could still be growing. As volcanic eruptions add new material to its surface, the planet may continue to expand, further increasing its size. Kepler-10b is a perfect example of a world that defies our traditional understanding of what makes a planet habitable or stable. It's a living, evolving mass of rock and molten lava, a true representation of the extreme environments that exist beyond our solar system. Could there be life on a planet like this? It's unlikely, but Kepler-10b serves as a powerful reminder of the endless possibilities that exist in the universe, even on planets that seem completely inhospitable. HD 63433D. Let's explore a fascinating planet known as HD 63433 days discovered in early 2024. This exoplanet, which is roughly the size of Earth, orbits its star in a unique way. It's tidally locked. That means one side of the planet is always facing its sun, while the other side remains in eternal darkness. And guess what? The side facing the star? It's a blazing inferno, with surface temperatures soaring to a staggering 1,260 degrees Celsius. Scientists believe that the star-facing hemisphere of HD 63433 days is entirely covered in molten lava, creating a hellish landscape of fiery rivers and volcanic activity. But what makes HD 63433 days even more interesting is the contrast between the two sides of the planet. The dark side remains cooler, but it's still incredibly hot, with temperatures reaching around 300 degrees Celsius. The stark difference between the two hemispheres creates a dramatic visual, with one half of the planet looking like an eternal inferno, while the other half is more temperate, but still very much inhospitable. This kind of planet, known as a lava world, is part of a growing discovery of planets that exist in extreme conditions. The constant volcanic eruptions on the star-facing side of HD 63433 days add new layers of lava and rock, making it a constantly changing world. What makes this planet particularly intriguing is how it challenges our ideas of what a planet can be. HD 63433 days may never be able to support life as we know it, but it's a perfect example of how planets in extreme environments can still grow, evolve, and thrive in their own unique way. With its intense volcanic activity and dual temperature zones, HD 63433 days offers a rare glimpse into the chaotic worlds that exist beyond our solar system, worlds that are constantly being reshaped by the forces of nature. TOI 6713.01. Imagine a planet that's a bigger, more intense version of Jupiter's moon Io. This is TOI 6713.01. It's a super-Earth exoplanet about 30% larger than Earth, orbiting its star in just 2.2 days. What makes TOI 6713.01 so extraordinary is that its proximity to its star subjects it to extreme heat, causing the surface to be covered in molten lava. If you've heard of Io, you're familiar with the idea of a volcanic lava-covered world, but TOI 6713.01 takes it to a whole new level. Think about this. While Io has constant volcanic eruptions, TOI 6713.01 has a surface completely reshaped by the relentless flow of lava, creating a dynamic, ever-changing landscape. The planet's proximity to its star causes such intense gravitational forces that it creates powerful tidal effects. These tidal forces, combined with the heat from the star, make the planet's surface a constantly active volcano spewing molten rock and reshaping the landscape at a mind-boggling pace. If you could somehow land on this planet, which, let's be honest, would be impossible without being fried alive, you'd be standing on a constantly shifting terrain of rock, magma, and erupting lava flows. It's a harsh, unforgiving world, but it's also a fantastic example of how exoplanets can develop in radically different ways from Earth. With its intense volcanic activity, TOI 6713.01 is a reminder of the kind of extreme environments that are out there in the cosmos. Even if life as we know it couldn't exist here, the planet's ever-changing surface offers a stunning look into the chaos and beauty of an alien world. Thanks for joining us on this fiery journey through the world of lava planets. It's truly mind-blowing to think about the extreme conditions that exist out there in the universe. What do you think? Could life ever exist on one of these molten worlds? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to InnoVision Tech for more mind-expanding content on the mysteries of space and technology. See you in the next one.